What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool video where we will talk about the inner details of the Isak to Liverpool transfer saga, because it has been recently revealed that the deal was done at ownership level. So Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, didn't have much say in it, and also Arne Slot, the Liverpool manager, wasn't really involved in the talks. It was between the Liverpool owners and the Newcastle owners, and the reason why it was always likely that Isak would be sold to Liverpool is because the Newcastle owners, the PIF, want to have a business relationship, a long-standing business relationship with FSG, the Liverpool ownership, and talks between FSG and Yasser Al-Rumayyan, who is the leader of the PIF, the owners of Newcastle. These were not surprising because John W. Henry and the PIF are talking or have been talking for a really long time about potential collaboration in the world of golf. So I will reveal all the details to you guys, and we will also look at the exact finances of Liverpool's transfer window and how it fares compared to other clubs in the Premier League, because Liverpool spend the most money in the summer transfer window, but we have a lower net spend than Arsenal. So we will take a look at those figures a little bit later in this video as well. But this partnership between FSG and PIF, and also potential collaboration in the world of golf, which could be worth billions of pounds actually, this is far greater priority for PIF and to the Saudis than Newcastle United. That was one of the main reasons why PIF decided to sell Isak to FSG, because they want to build a strong relationship with FSG. So a formal business relationship is not in place so far, but there is certainly a strong desire on the part of PIF for this strong relationship, business relationship to materialize. They want to build it up with FSG. That's why it was very likely that PIF would sanction the sale of Isak to Liverpool. So that's always very, very interesting how these things work out behind the scenes, and I want to lift the curtain. I want to take you guys behind the scenes with me so you can see how these things work, because that's the beauty of football, that there are so many financial and business relationships and transactions going on behind the scenes, and it's always fascinating to me how these work out. So that is because PIF are keen to work with the Strategic Sports Group, SSG in short, who are a consortium of wealthy businessmen and investors, including FSG, who have invested billions into the PGA Tour, which is like the professional golfing association, and the PIF have been trying to get into this consortium of wealthy businessmen, the SSG, for the last 18 months. So 1.5 years PIF have been trying to get in this, and perhaps they saw an opportunity that through a sale, through the sale of Isak to Liverpool, they could finally get in and sweeten the relationship with John W. Henry. This doesn't mean that PIF would sanction the purchase of Liverpool players for above market value. Nothing fishy is going on, because Isak for 125 million was a fair market value deal. But what it does demonstrate is that FSG smartly uses an external situation to benefit Liverpool. That's absolute confirmation of how Al-Rumayyan would lean came after Isak put out his bombshell statement on the 19th of August. Because around 10:45 p.m. that night, various journalists posted messages on X to say that the club would absolutely not sell. That was briefed by the club. But then, the next day, an official not the next day, but an hour later, an official statement came out from the club itself, basically where PIF, the owners, put out essentially a statement where they still left the door open. They said that circumstances for the sale to happen haven't materialized yet. So basically they said that the conditions of the sale haven't been met yet, which means that once they met, the sale could happen. And of course that didn't prevent some Newcastle-based journalists like Luke Edwards, who have been briefed by the club to being blind to the obvious. FSG played an absolute blinder in making the deal come together. So I again want to applaud FSG, and I didn't go from an FSG out member to suddenly an FSG apologist, but I will praise the owners when it's merited, when they are worthy of praise, and I will criticize the owners when it's merited, and sometimes in the past it was merited, and when it was deserved, because I want ultimately what's best for Liverpool Football Club, and I want ultimately what's best for the Liverpool fan base, which is a club which aims to win titles and trophies while playing beautiful football, while bringing through youth academy players, developing them and integrating as many of them as possible into the team. Yes, maybe selling some of them for profit, that's also a good business for Liverpool, but also I want as many Liverpool players who have been brought through the academy as possible in the team. So I was really sad when Kwanzaa and Harvey Elliott were sold, but they both weren't at the level that is required right now to play for Liverpool, which is Champions League winner and Premier League winner level. That's the level that you need to be at. And these young players can still develop, and Liverpool have buyback clauses in their contract, so if they develop well, then sooner or later they can return. But it's still great that we see Curtis Jones in the team, and also a lot of young players joined. Kerkez is 21, Ekitike is 23, Isak still only 25, Frimpong is also 24, Mamadashvili is 23, 24, something like that. So when the owners deserve praise, when they deserve their flowers, then I will applaud them, because they played an absolutely crucial part in bringing Isak to Anfield. And what a signing! £125 million striker who is absolute world class. We are not used to times like this, that we sign world class players like Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, who by the way could still develop and improve. That's the beauty of signing young players who are already world class, that they could actually get better. And also, of course, some fans who support the Boston Red Sox, the baseball team that FSG own as well, they have been critical of FSG spending more money on Liverpool than on the Boston Red Sox. But maybe FSG views Liverpool as a place where they can get a much higher return of investment, rate of investment on money spent, because there are more places where you can sell bad assets. You can also get significant financial prizes, and Liverpool earned £180 million for just winning the Premier League. We earned £100 million for just getting to the last 16 of the Champions League. Imagine if we get to the semi-final or the final, hopefully this season. And also Liverpool can generate pretty big amounts of money by selling youth academies players who develop and who are knocking on the door. And Ben Doak was sold for big money, Tyler Morton was sold for big money, and they played just a few games for Liverpool here and there. They were just in and around the first team, and they still generated significant amount of money. So hopefully this is not the last window where Liverpool spend big. And also Isak helped make this transfer happen by actually putting in a formal request, where basically he formally requested a transfer, so he has let Newcastle keep the £5 million in bonuses that Isak was entitled to receive had he not handed in that formal transfer request. So that 125 million with the 5 million that Isak let Newcastle have puts the total to 130 million, and that was the compromise figure that Newcastle were prepared to do business for. And this was the best case scenario for both parties, because Newcastle could spend big on two players, Voltemade and Wissa, and they could get 130 million pounds basically into their pockets, and Liverpool could only needed to pay 125 million for Isak, and Isak got his dream move to Liverpool. And now let's look at the total spending of Liverpool, because it got to 417 million pounds in total, which is more than any other club in the Premier League. But the most important thing is that Liverpool's net spend was only 192 million. because they recouped player sales 225 million pounds. That's also unprecedented. I mean, I never thought we would see the day where Liverpool spend more than 400 million pounds in one transfer window. But I also never thought that we would be able to sell players worth 225 million pounds. And the majority of that is Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, who were sold for more than 100 million pounds in total, 110 approximately. But also Kwanzaa was sold for 35, Ben Doak for 25, Queen Kelleher 18, Tyler Morton 13. We got for Trent Alexander-Arnold to go to Real Madrid 28 days early, 3 weeks early. We got 8 million for that as well. Spending on 2 players, spending like almost 250 million pounds. That's unprecedented in total combined. 116 on Wirtz, 125 million on Isak, absolutely crazy, and Ekitike 80 million. So Liverpool spending 417 million pounds in one transfer window is really, really spectacular. And the Premier League spent 3.3 billion pounds more than the other top 5 leagues combined. So they spent more than if you add up the Bundesliga, the Serie A, La Liga and French League. The Premier League spent more than those 4 leagues combined, and that shows the financial power of the Premier League. And I want to see the nets. I want to show you guys the net spend figures. So Arsenal 256 million, Liverpool about 192, Man United 158 million net spend, Tottenham 139, and fifth, surprisingly, is Everton 120 million pounds net spent, and even Sunderland have a bigger net spend than Man City, 117 million pounds spent by Sunderland, 103 million spent by Man City, and Newcastle spent 101 million net spent, so they can't really complain. They spend a lot of money. Leeds and Nottingham Forest also spent close to 100 million net, and Burnley spent 85 million. Bournemouth has a net spend of minus 72 million, which means that they earned 72 million pounds more from player sales than what they spent on players bought in, which is pretty crazy. And Brighton, similarly, they earned 70 million. So their next spend is actually minus 70 million. And this 447 million pounds spent by Liverpool, 417 million pounds spent by Liverpool is actually the second highest on the list in the purchase history, which is really, really awesome. And what's pretty crazy, and I haven't seen this before, is that the top 3 most expensive transfers are all Liverpool players. The top is Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz is second, Hugo Ekitike is third, and then 4th and 5th are Benjamin Šeško and Mbeumo with 73 and 71 million pounds spent on them. Voltemade is 6th with almost 70 million pounds spent. Then comes Eze and Gyökeres. Arsenal signed them. Wolves sold Cunha to Man United for 62 million. So Man United have 3 of the top 9, even though they didn't qualify for any European competition, and they finished in 15th place. And that shows that Man United still have a lot of money in the bank. This time Chelsea didn't spend a lot of money on one player. They spent quite a lot on many players. João Pedro was the most expensive, 60 million. And also, Newcastle spending 55 million and 70 million on Voltemade and Vissa. That's pretty crazy. So they pretty much spent exactly the same amount of money on those 2 strikers that they sold Alexander Isak for. So that's pretty epic. And that concludes today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.